أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذي أذهب الله عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي أفوض أمري إلى الله بصير بالعباد. Um, Welcome everyone and Assalamu alaikum jamian wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We continue our journey into understanding Ayatul Kursi, and last time we had started discussing the 6 needs of victims. And it's been interesting that because I'm feeling so excited about talking about the symptoms of victimhood, the needs of a victim. I have I was talking to a lot of people during the week about this idea and how certain things which we think and maybe we believe because of what we've been taught all our life, that they are signs of courage, or they are signs of bravery, or signs of fighting for your right, are actually signs of victimhood. And the first one is vengeance. And I was talking to somebody today who was explaining how some people feel like they've been wronged and the world is an unjust place. And because the world is an unjust place, one has to be constantly on their defense. They have to be constantly on the fence to protect themselves lest somebody treats them unfairly, unjustly. And then there's a whole inner turmoil about how you're going to get back to them, how you're going to go and get your justice, how are you going to um, um, retrieve what was yours. And that's where I feel that on a daily basis, Quran and the teachings in faith can really empower us. And somebody was asking me, what do you do? And I said that, I do coach based life coaching, which means that faith empowers you. Faith empowers us into a sense of faith, a sense of confidence through which then we become fearless, we become free, we find the freedom. So, what is this freedom? First of all, we the word that we the sentence that I told you all last time, that was my key takeaway, was that when we enter a state of victimhood, we think that peace is a sign of weakness. So I want to start today's talk with this golden sentence. When we're in a state of vengeance, we feel peace is a sign of weakness. And what is a sign of being free? What is a sign of being empowered? Is to be aware of the right thing, to be aware of what is the best thing to do, to understand what wisdom is telling us, and have the power to go through with that. Having the power to doing what the faith is saying instead of what the fear is saying, because fear will always cripple us. What is this fear? So my teacher coached me, and I always say that whenever you want to gauge the right and the wrong of something, try to gauge it with the lens of whether it is coming from a place of fear or is it coming from a place of faith. So when we talk about faith and fear, we understand that there is a fear of the world taking advantage of me. There's a fear of people who can harm me, who can do wrong, who can take away what was mine. And that fear can take our sleep away. We'll be worried, we'll be negative, we will think strategies of protecting ourselves, which is multiplied by a million, becomes the defense forces, the armed forces of different countries, because there is lack of trust, there is a lack of faith, there is always a threat. We're constantly protecting our borders because we think that at any point I can be abused. But what is the Quran saying? Quran is saying in ahsantum le anfusikum. When you do good, you do it to yourself, and when you do harm, you do it to yourself. And this line, this verse of the Quran cannot make sense to anyone who looks at this life as an end to itself, who looks at the earthly life, worldly life as an end to itself. It will only make sense to that person who understands the true reality, where they understand that this life is just a passage, it's temporary, it's a bridge, it's just a journey. And the true journey, the true destination is beyond this life. The truth is the soul. So when we say that no one can harm us, it means that no one can touch our soul. So when we look at Imam Hussein, obviously we'll say that Yazid's army harmed him a lot, but could they harm his faith? Could they harm his sense of calm? Could they harm his sense of tawakkul? Could they harm his sense of positivity that there is some good in this, even in this tragedy, where my entire family is being butchered, where I mean, I can't even imagine one person from my family being killed like that, but every one of them out of the men except Imam Zainal Abidin is being killed. The baby is being killed. And Imam Hussein and Bibi Zainab are grounded in the idea that what is the Quran saying? All good is in the hands of God and evil is from us. And that is the difference between Adam and Iblis, because when things went wrong, Iblis blamed it on God and he said, evil is from you. But what did Adam do? He said, all good is from my God, but this evil is from me. So when we take that responsibility and we don't point our fingers to anyone and we understand that, okay, I've made a mistake, let me rectify it. I can rectify it with Allah's help, I can rectify it with Allah's guidance. Okay. So the first step becomes to take responsibility. Can we take responsibility for our life? Can we say that with taking responsibility comes a lot of power, which is the opposite of what we generally hear, right? With great power comes great responsibility, right? And I told you, Mark Manson in his book says, no, with great responsibility comes great power. When we start to take responsibility of our own life, when we start to take responsibility of our own circumstances, then a lot of power opens up within us, because now we are saying, wait a second, if it is because of me that things can go wrong, then I have the power to fix them. But if I keep saying, it's because of my sister, it's because of my brother, it's because of my neighbor, it's because of my husband, it's because of my parents, then I don't have the power to fix it because they messed it up. If we keep saying that someone else is responsible for messing up the things in my life, then I will just wait all my life for them to fix it, feel like a victim, and say they messed up my life. Until and unless they take a decision to fix it, my life is going to be in the dumps forever and ever until they try to fix it. And this is where we lose all our power. This is a very disempowering way of doing life. And I also want to bring in another verse of the Quran today, which is, if you, Allah says that if a nation, if you do not change yourself, then Allah will not change the condition of anybody, right? So where do we draw the line between saying, oh, I'm surrendering to God and I'm being patient and I will let Allah take the decision, and Allah loves the ones who do sabr. Inna Allaha ma'a sabirin. Allah loves the ones who are patient, who do sabr. And I will just surrender to what is there. And this is how I do tawakkul. I have full faith in Allah that He will change my condition. And a lot of people ask this question. Um, when do you leave a relationship and when do you decide that it has reached that level of abuse where you need to walk out? When do you say, okay, I need to compromise, I need to patch things up, I need to have hope, I need to, these are some very, very important questions that we need to ask ourselves. Where do we draw the line? Where do we start feeling the power? And when do we start to rely on God, where we hand it over to Him? So I read a post on Instagram recently which said that dua was given to us because perhaps Allah wrote on some pages of our life that he will do as we wish. Okay. So according to that post, it said that perhaps we should keep asking for dua, because everything is not written. And on some pages of our destiny, it's written as you wish, right? And I responded and I said, Allah has written that on every page. He's written that on every page, as you wish, as you wish, as you wish. In every moment, He has written, as you wish. So I was listening to Sister BK Shivani, and she was saying that, people do this in I don't know, it's Kundal something. They take out the Kundalini or something, right? They take out the what do they call that? They take out the future prediction. If anybody knows, um, I'll get someone to answer that for me. Yeah, so they try to check the horoscopes, okay, and then they find some future predictions. Yeah, they do the Kundalini, right? Thank you for that. Thank you, Auntie. So no, it says iPhone. Thank you, iPhone. Okay, so what did she say? She said the Kundalini that you saw, the astrological prediction that you just saw, which is saying that, for example, in your future there's no promotion. Okay, she said that prediction changes every millisecond, because that prediction was done according to what you are doing right now. And destiny changes when you change. Allah will change your situation when you change. Allah says, I will not change a condition of a nation until and unless they change what is within themselves. What is within themselves. So taking that responsibility and saying, the power is within me, and I am manifesting these problems in my life. I have to learn something from these circumstances. I have to read the messages coming through a certain event or through a person or through a relationship which is troubling me. I have to work on myself and my life. Then, when I become aware of it and I understand my beliefs, then I can start to change my life. So, that power is ours, right? And Allah is saying, until and unless you don't change what is within yourself, I will not change your condition, your circumstances. So, according to what VK Shivani was saying, the idea is that even we feel like, the destiny is written, predictions are done. And when I was a child and I would go to these Islamic schools and we would discuss the idea of free will and free will and predestination, the answer we would get is that, and kids would say that, well, then what's the point of taking our own decisions if everything is pre-written? What's the point of me doing any good when Allah has already decided that what if Allah has already decided that I will die a thug, or Allah has already decided that I'll die a burglar? And what's the point of me doing any good anyway? I should just do whatever I'm doing, and God will decide. So he's actually controlling us, and we're like puppets. And a lot of teachers would say that this discussion on predestination and free will is an endless discussion, and it's something only mystics can understand, and it is something that only certain mindset people can understand. It is a long discussion, this, that. And then we have this very famous saying of Imam Ali where he says that free will and predestination are like a man standing on one foot. So half of it is our decision and half of it is God's. So, how do we understand half of it is ours and half of it is God's? That will happen when my teachers would give this example of a teacher. For example, I have been a B or a C grader throughout the academic year. Okay. So, when someone will ask, can you predict a grade for Fatma Agha? My teacher will say, her average is between C and a D. So, most probably it will be a B or a C, right? And that's how the teacher can predict my future. And the teacher will say she'll most probably get a B or a C because that's what I've seen consistently again and again. But what happens when I say that I want to prove everyone wrong. And I say that I don't want to be predictable. And I say I'm not going to be who I've always been. I'm okay to changing myself if a solution presents itself. So, for example, someone says, I use flashcards and they've really helped me excel. Somebody says, I do mind mapping and that's really helped me excel in school. Someone says, I did this course that's its ad keeps coming on Instagram and I put my child in that course and, things have changed. Someone will say, wait, my child is doing a lot better because I put him in therapy and, therapy has helped him get better. So these are all different ways. These different ways will be implemented when the person will say, I want to change. I want to go look for a solution. And when I find a solution, I will implement it and I will do something different. I will do something that my teacher cannot predict about me, something that I've never done before. Like, like for example, you say, oh, I never drink coffee, so I can't stay up at night to study. But this time I say, no, I'm going to have coffee so I can stay up and I'm going to study more. Or I've never made flashcards, but I'm going to make flashcards this time. Or I never knew I was dyslexic and I got myself assessed and now I have the tools to overcome dyslexia. Now the teacher only knows your certain level of performance, certain caliber. And by doing what you've never done before, you change the trajectory of the prediction anyone can make about you. So, in a real way, when we come into the present moment and we say that I'm going to change my beliefs about this world, I had a belief that I can't trust the world, it's full of bad people, there are obstacles on my way, nothing ever works here. I'm going to change that. So, somebody who was constantly whining and saying, this world is so bad, we're about to be doomed, nothing is going to work out. And so you never try and you never do anything about your life because you just feel like there's no point in doing anything because it's just going to be a doomsday anyway. But if you change your belief and you say, no, the world is full of good people, good things happen to me, I'm supported, I can trust the universe, God is kind, God is good, no harm can come near me. In ahsantum li anfusikum. I'm good, I do good, so I will be rewarded for it. What will happen? Will the world change? The lens with which we're looking at the world will change. And now, in a particular day, if you had 5 bad things happening for you and 2 good things happening for you, you're going to start focusing on 2 good things instead of those 5 bad things. And because you will focus on those 2 good things, you will have the stamina to put trust in the universe and go ahead and do something good and feel lucky and say, oh, wow, look, good things happened to me. And you're going to take more chances. You're going to take more risks. I'm going to try to find the link. There's this, Miss Universe. There was one of them. She was from USA, and she tried to win the beauty pageant as Miss Universe for 8 years. And for 8 years, she didn't even, like for the 7 years, she didn't even make it to the runners up. Okay. She didn't even reach that stage, but for 8 years, she kept trying. And if I find the video, I'm going to share because she says that she was, if I'm not mistaken, she was a Marine. She was in the army. And she was somewhere shopping, and a lady comes up to her and says, you are Miss Universe material. You should apply. You should contest in Miss Universe. And you're like, what are you talking about? I'm like in the army. Like, what are you saying? She's like, no, I know you will do it, so do it. That lady convinced her to join the pageant for 7 years and said, don't give up, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. And 7th year, this lady who had convinced her passed away, and the 8th year, she won the pageant. Okay. And that is the power of conviction and persistence and resilience and believing in yourself. Sometimes when we can't believe in ourselves, Allah will send different wasila, different people, different means, different vessels who can encourage us, who can get us through our bad times. However, in the coaching that I do, um, and you know, there are certain things that I've learned over time also, that there are women who are my very close friends or their relatives, and they feel inspired and they ask for advice, but I see that they're not willing to put faith over fear. Okay, they want their life to change, but they don't want to change themselves. They want their life to change, but they don't want to take the difficult steps. They want to change their life, but they don't want to make anyone upset or unhappy or hurt. Even the Prophet had to hurt his entire family except a few to bring Islam into Makkah. His family wasn't happy with him. The Quraysh weren't happy with him. They wanted to kill him. They wanted to, bribe him so he would leave his mission. So, when we bring change, nobody likes it. Change is very difficult, very tough to adjust to. But it takes a lot of faith and self-confidence to stick to your guns and say, I believe in this. This is my belief. I have it in me to make it. I have it in me to get through this. I believe in myself. And we believe in ourselves only because we believe that the breath of God is within us. وَنَفَخْتَهُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. So all of this faith that was given to us through different religions was not given to us so that we feel like we're weak and we're not capable and we should rely on other people. Instead, religion came to instill the faith in us so that each one of us could have an individual connection, an individual relationship, an individual journey of faith to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where we feel so empowered that despite what the world says, despite how much the world shames us, we're able to recognize when the help of God comes, take it, and not be afraid of what the people will say. How will I handle the negative comments? How will I take care of the people saying mean things about me? And I've had my fair share of people making stories about me and, um, trying to blaspheme, try to say things like, just you can say slandering, right? People do that. And as long as their words have effect on us, and I've had my fair share of feeling affected by what people say, as long as we get affected by people and what they think and what they say and what opinion they will hold of me, we are in a trap. We are caged. We are victims to their validation. We want them to approve of me. But when we enter the state of faith, having faith in truth, in honesty, in authenticity, in God, then no matter what people say and no matter what they think of me, I understand that what people think of me is none of my business. And I know it's not easy, it's hard, it's a journey, it's a process. We feel alone, we feel scared, we are social beings, we want a tribe. But believe me, I really respect this meme, I think, which says, my vibe attracts my tribe. And when you are shedding a tribe, know that there's a new tribe being built around you. It's it's already on its way. A whole new tribe of people. Allah is collecting them because now your vibe has changed. Now your energy has changed. Like for example, I can say that about myself. Of course, I can't say about anybody else. There was a time when I was a whiner, complaining, feeling upset, constantly saying world is a difficult place, people are so difficult, people don't come up to my expectations, having so many complaints, being a in Urdu we say sadu, like you're rotten, you know, everything is rotten. You just go and you rot things up with all your whining and complaining. And you're just like a sad faced person and nobody likes your vibe. You just drain people's energy. You become a toxic person when you are not in a state of gratitude. And what that does is that it makes you feel like I'm bichara, you know. I am powerless. I don't have it in my hands. I can't change my situation or circumstance. But when we start to realize that faith empowers me in a way, when taqwa for me becomes this state in which I always remember that God has got my back. He has my back. I don't have to rely on people. God has got my back. I don't care what people think of me. People can think of me whatever they want to think of me, right? Um, and eventually, I feel like being honest today. Growing up, we went to all these shahadats and biladats, and there would be maksusi, and there would be um, sad days and happy days. And I feel like each one of us have our struggles. So I struggle with keeping a check on what day it is, um, because when you're having too much fun, you forget time, right? So I would forget if it's Monday or Tuesday or what date is it. So I have to keep a lot of calendars and make sure that I remember my appointments. And I couldn't keep a track of what Islamic date is it, what Gregorian date is it, which day is Shahadat, which day is Wiladat. And I would often end up wearing pink at a class where when it's a Shahadat, and I would end up wearing reds, and I would end up wearing these bright colors. And then and then I'll feel embarrassed and I'll go home and I'll be like, you know what? I think next time I should make sure that I wear Shahadat clothes. And I'll go in my black clothes with no makeup on, and then I'll see everyone is dressed up because today is Maksusi, and someone's made a cake, and someone's brought dokras, and somebody's got, and I'm like, oh my God. And a few times I felt embarrassed, and a few times I felt like an outcast, and a few times I felt like, oh my God, why do I have to embarrass myself every time? And then some days I would spend a lot of time checking in the morning right before leaving. What date is it? What Islamic date is it? Is it a Shahadat day or a Wiladat day? And guess what? After trying everything, I would still end up with the wrong clothes because they'll say, yeah, the calendar you were checking, that was the Iraqi riwayats, because in Pakistan and subcontinent, we do the other riwayats. So today is actually Shahadat Day and today is actually Wiladat Day. And in the end, I was like, okay, I just can't do this. This is just something I just cannot do. So I'm just gonna have to rely on the fact that, Allah, are you upset with me? Are you angry with me if I don't wear the right clothes? If I enter a mosque and I'm not wearing the right color, will you get mad at me? And the answer was always, of course not. God doesn't care about these things. If I'm entering with a sincere intention to learn and I have questions, and guess what would happen if I'm wearing the wrong color and I'm feeling embarrassed and the Q&A floor opens, I'm going to hesitate to ask my question, right? Because if I ask the question, everybody's wearing black and I'm sitting in a red scarf, and I say, I have an important question, and everyone will look at me and judge me. And in my head, I'll be thinking, oh no, everybody's going to look at me and think, she has no right to ask a question. She doesn't even wear the right color to the place. She's so culturally awkward, right? And then I said, you know what? I'm here to gain knowledge, and I'm not going to waste this opportunity just because by mistake, unintentionally, with no intention of hurting anybody's feelings, I end up in the wrong color every single time. I'm just going to forget about this. This is just not something I can waste my time and energy on. I think I have better things to do. And so I have come to a conclusion now that I'm very mindful that if I end up in a place where I'm not wearing the right color, um, I forgive myself and I allow myself to accept myself with this, inefficiency. and I allow myself, and I say, I'm not going to jeopardize my spiritual journey. I'm not going to jeopardize my time. I have to be answerable to God. I'm not going to do this simply because why? I'm not a bad person. I didn't do it for a deliberate reason to offend anybody, you know? So I'm just going to mind my own business. And what other people think of me is none of my business. Okay. And I also try to make other people feel comfortable. Why? You know why? Because do you know so many people, this Muharram, Alhamdulillah, locally I read a few majalis, and there were so many homes where people called their non-Shia friends. They were Sunnis, there were other schools of thought who were attending, and they weren't wearing black. They were wearing pinks and reds and blues. They were dressed up. Some of them came with their makeups on. Some of them were decked up because they thought that they're coming to a social gathering. And as a speaker, I felt that I wanted them to feel comfortable, much like in a lot of gatherings, such people are pointed fingers at, they're made to feel bad, they're made to feel guilty, and they're made to feel like an outcast, like they don't belong in a mehfil of God, in a sohbat of God. But what does Rumi say? Come, come. This is a caravan where everyone is accepted. Come, we want everyone to come. So we don't know what situation some people are. I have even come across people who wanted to go to Karbala, but they came from Wahhabi families, but their hearts had changed. And if anyone saw black clothes in their home, they would start suspecting it. They had to do taqiyya. They had to keep their faith a hidden thing because their lives were in danger. Their relationships were in danger. Their marriages were in danger. So they cannot wear black clothes sometimes. There can be a myriad of reasons. There can be millions of reasons why someone cannot abide by a certain cultural norm you know I was talking to somebody today who said that all my life we couldn't afford uh, new clothes on Eid. So one of their uncles would, they were doing export work for clothing, and he used to export brown fabric. So every occasion they would get a new outfit, but it was brown, and they couldn't choose a color. They would just get brown clothes. So this person was saying that when I got out of my, that phase of my life, and I could afford different colors, and I got married, the first thing I did, I removed all the browns from my spouse's wardrobe. I removed all the brown, and people couldn't understand why. And for her, it was tormenting because the brown color was triggering so much for her. So black color can trigger so much depression in so many people. I know so many people who struggle because they say, I just cannot wear black. It depresses me. And we know that the black color shoes, in a hadith we see that they say that black colored shoes, they reduce the noor in your eyes, the light in your eyes. And it is far more recommended to wear orangish yellow color shoes, zard color shoes, mustard color shoes, or white shoes. So there are reasons for it, right? And then recently, what I read was also that black color is the color that absorbs all energies. Okay, but white color, it doesn't absorb all energies, but black color absorbs all the colors, right? It absorbs all the colors. They disappear in black. So I read that if you want to protect yourself from a toxic or negative energy, so also mind you, this is not Islamic literature. This is part of the Vedas and part of the yogic knowledge. So if you believe in it, this is just some knowledge that you can consider, or you can do your own research. I'm not saying it is 100% correct. This is just something I read, that black color, and we know scientifically, right, that black absorbs heat. We all know that, and white deflects heat. So when it's hot, we wear white clothes. When it's cold, we wear dark colors to absorb the heat. In the same way, and heat is an energy, right? So in the same manner, black is a color that absorbs all the energies. White protects all the energies. So when we go in a congregational prayer, we wear white clothes because white clothes don't just absorb the energies of all the people around you, right? There's a protection to it. But black clothes will absorb all the energies in the environment. And if you're entering a place which has a very low vibration, very low energy, then it's going to have an effect. So obviously, it's true that black color makes us feel very low sometimes. That's why you'll see that some people who are recovering from depression, who are doing work on their chakras, they're advised to wear bright colors. Like at one point, my healer said that my solar plexus chakra needed work. And this was many years ago. And I was advised to keep yellow things around me, yellow clothes, eat yellow fruits. It was all about yellow because yellow color had that healing power for the solar plexus chakra. So, because I believe in that wisdom as well, I feel it has helped me. It has affected my personality to be around cheerful colors. Now, if somebody walks into a majlis wearing white clothes, right? How can we judge this person? Oh, this person doesn't want to mourn Imam Hussain properly, or doesn't want to mourn the Shahadat of particular Imam properly because they can't even wear clothes. They can't even wear the right color. How will they even do anything else, right? This is how we judge. They don't fit in. People give you stares. They feel so uninvited. And there are incidents. There are true stories of people who say that I entered a certain mosque and this is exactly how I was treated. And I promised myself I'm never going to go there again. How can we be the people who discourage people from entering the house of God? It's some things like that were done to me as well, right? So I decided I'm not going to enter that center ever again because it hurt my feelings. I'm a human being, right? So it takes time then for us to overcome these triggers. Like that person didn't like the brown color, somebody may not like the black color. Who are we to judge anyone? So while we shouldn't be judging anyone, at the same time, empowerment comes when we don't allow their judgments to affect us. That is where empowerment also comes because we have this very famous thing that's come up in our community, in our country. The youngsters, they do these memes and they say, log kya kahenge, what will people say? Log kya kahenge has destroyed more dreams than anything else has ever destroyed, right? Because when we jeopardize our relationships, our happiness, just because what people are going to think, what people are going to say. Imagine you're going to work and you had a meeting where you had to wear a suit, right? And on your way back home, there's an Imam Barga, there's a mosque, there's a program over there. You really want to go and listen to some words of wisdom. You want to connect with God. You want to do your namaz. But when you think of your clothes, you're like, oh no, if I'm going to enter the mosque in my suit, if I enter the Imam Barga in my suit, if I don't have a scarf on my head, everyone is going to just look at me and it'll be so awkward. It's better I just don't go. Isn't that sad? That's so unfortunate, you know? And then we say, why are the youth going away from religion and why are they not staying in the community and why do they not want to be close to God? Is because we are a very unwelcoming group of people. So we want to be welcoming, and to do that, we have to come to a place of acceptance. But acceptance for others only comes when we accept ourselves. When we become self critical, when we don't think we're good enough, when we don't think we're worthy of respect, when we don't think that God will accept me with my flaws, with whatever clothes I wear, with whatever I do, um, that's when we're going to be able to do that to other people too, right? If I have love for myself, if if I can love myself with all my sins, if I can love myself with all my flaws and weaknesses, and I say, Allah, I accept this. I surrender to whatever and whoever you've made me and wherever you've taken me. I accept myself. Then only when you look at somebody else who's less than perfect, which all of us are, you'll say, of course I accept you the way you are. Of course, I accept you with your journey. You know, when we go on a journey and we find our truth and we feel convinced about that truth, we start feeling like we need to spread that truth to everybody. And we need to convince people because they're suffering, because they don't know what I know. And they are somehow unfortunate, and I'm fortunate, and I need to provide them with what they need. We do end up becoming arrogant, judgmental, imposing, forceful, right? And that's the end of it. Because the Prophet said that there are so many ways, there are like 70 ways of preaching, and the last one is through your tongue. Last one is through your tongue. There's so many other ways. And what is the best one? Imam Jafar Sadiq says, the best one is through your ikhlaq. The best one is you be you. You be you, you shine your light, and it'll just give everyone else the permission to shine their own light, right? When will that happen? When you don't align yourself with what people approve of, and you become a person of your own will, you become a person of your own opinion, and you start to gauge the rights and wrongs from your own opinion and your own perspective. And if you go and you say, I'm going to wear this because I feel it's the right thing to do, it will give other people the chance to do the same thing. If you speak your truth and you say, look, I know this is what they taught us, but I don't agree with it, you will allow 10 more people to feel normal about having a difference in opinion. Otherwise, that one person who who had the courage to step up and say, you know what, yes, I know this is the popular opinion, but I don't agree with it, that person will be drowned in criticism alone. That person will be the only one who's called the black sheep of the community, who's psychologically tormented and ostracized. But if only each one of us were to speak our own truth, we would give permission to everyone to speak their truth, because some people are more brave than others, right? And all of this will happen when we stop feeling like we are dependent on people to be truthful. We are dependent on people when they will support me, when they will allow me, when they will love me, when they will accept me, then I can be my true self. But that will never happen. And I feel inspired to say this, that, I work with a lot of women who really, really, really have been wanting divorces. They don't want to stay in their marriages. And I have no shame in saying that I help these women get their divorces, because sadly, these women have been target of emotional abuse, psychological torture. They've gone into deep depression, living in environments which are not conducive, which are not growth centric, which are not freedom centric. They are very claustrophobic environments for these women. And what do clergy do? This is my own personal experience. So I'm speaking from my own personal experience. What do? They'll keep saying to the woman, try to reconcile, make it work. Seven heavens are going to get unhappy with you if you break this marriage. And one after another, you keep going from one Molana to another, and they will just keep saying the same thing. You should try and reconsider. You should try and reconsider. Why? Because you're a woman and you must be jazbati, you must be emotional, you might be taking a decision as a rash, immediate, rash decision. Maybe you're too quick. How are tens of years, decades of a rash decision? These women have been contemplating divorces for 14, 20, 50, 30 years. And they're waiting for a day when they feel powerful enough to get out of these relationships, despite what the world says. I have seen one woman after another who keeps saying, I cannot do this, I cannot do this, I want to get out of it. And they don't have one single person standing up with them and saying, you know what, I trust your judgment. You're an educated, intellectual human being with equal brain cells as men. And if you think that this marriage is not working, it's toxic, it is difficult, then I stand with you. I will support you. And I have seen that, and over here, there are some really, really terrible cases. I know a very beautiful, educated woman who was forcefully married off to somebody 30 years older than her, with many wives from before, and moved to a different country. And the parents did not want to have anything to do with her. And she was struggling to get a divorce. She was not happy. She was psychologically disturbed. She was on medication. And, it's not enough to send somebody to therapy and say, oh, wow, I'm sending this person for therapy or I'm paying for their pills, because you also need to change their lifestyle and environment and the root cause of depression. You got to find what caused it in the first place. Why did such a chirpy, happy, productive, intelligent woman become so slow? Who did this? What is the cause of her unhappiness? You got to change that too. And the only thing that was missing for her to take that divorce was just one person would stand with her and say, I don't doubt you one bit, and you can do this, and I will support you all the way. I didn't do anything. I just told her that I'm standing by you and I'm supporting you, and that woman went all the way. She found the courage to speak to the lawyer. She found the courage to stand up to her husband. She found the courage to do all the legal work all by herself, just because one person told her, I stand by you. And she's recovering now. And she's a better person now, a better human being now, because now she is a free human being, because she deserves that freedom, because she's also as intellectual and intelligent as any other man. Why don't we doubt men when they can just divorce a woman? Why do we doubt a woman's decision when she is saying that I can't do this anymore after trying for 10, 15, 20, 30 years? We still doubt a woman's decision. So a lot of these women have been made to feel a lot of shame for the things they feel. A lot of things they feel are made, they're trivialized, they're laughed upon, they're mocked, they're not considered important. You know, I was talking to a person who said that, my husband thinks that all of these things that we do for fun, they are very materialistic. And he just says that if we travel, we should just go to Umrah and Hajj and Ziyarat, and we should not take any vacations because it makes us so like involved in the world. So he has not even taken me out to buy a single ice cream all my life. And if she goes and she tells the Maulana, my husband hasn't even taken me to get a single ice cream, what is the Maulana gonna say? He's going to turn around and say, oh, this is nothing. It's so petty. Is this why you're going to get a divorce? But what the Malana is not realizing is that it's like she's been given a death sentence. That she has to live a life of treachery for the rest of her life when she was a bubbly, bouncy, happy person. And now you've put her with a partner who doesn't believe in joy, in happiness. What are little things that make us happy? So if we look at the Prophet, the Prophet was very forthcoming. He constantly advised the men, please take care of your women. Please take care of your women. He said, one of my most favorite creations in the world is a woman, because she brings color, she brings joy, she brings warmth into life. She's the one, you give her groceries and she'll make a beautiful meal out of it, right? I know that, since I've had my daughters, what a beauty the girls are in the house. Daughters are live in the house. They bring color and joy and giggles and conversations. How can we dismiss all of that? How can we do that to the women in our homes and think that make it work? No, every woman, just like a man, has a right to the freedom of choice to live a life where they can also actualize their intellects, where they can also find their spiritual perfection, where they can also say yes to their calling, you know. But sadly, a lot of their spirits are broken by constant criticism, by constant nagging, by constantly putting them down, by constantly discouraging them. But then you look at women who who have who have people supporting them or encouraging them, or women who have men in their homes who have supported them or encouraged them in pursuing their passions. There is a army general by the name of General Nigar, and I had the honor of her coming and meeting me, uh, and saying these positive words out of the blue, which I take as God's word and message for me in my life. And this is a woman, they've made documentaries and movies and dramas on it. You can see it. Pakistan dramas are really famous, I think. So I don't watch most of them, but I've seen this one. It's called Ek Hai Nigar. Okay. And it was so interesting when I met her and she came to me and she met me. I didn't know who she was. And she kept asking me, "Do you know who I am?" And I had no idea who she was. And then I had a friend with me. I said, she was walking ahead of me. So I went to her and I said, "I don't know who this lady is. She's saying she's General Nigar." And she's like, "What? Are you kidding me? You met General Nigar? You have no idea who she is?" I said, "No, I have no idea." And then I came home and I watched the documentary on her life. And while she faced a lot of tragedies in her life, the resilience in her, I do see that all these, her husband, her father, everyone supported her. She became the first Surgeon General in Pakistani Army. And her confidence and her intellect is, if it's so beautiful, it's given so much courage and so much light to so many other people, not just women, but men too. And you know in her life, she wasn't given children. She didn't have any kids of her own, but she had a different destiny. She had a different purpose, right? And she is on her calling, feeling like every day she's in the service of God. And you guys know what she told me when she came and met me? The only word she told me was, "Always keep your courage because God is always there." That's what she told me. God is always there. Allah hai. Those were her words, right? So we have to understand that we cannot allow this victim mentality to infect us, to deplete us, to plague us, to rot us, because Allah has made us his representative. And he has given us an honor that he didn't give to any other creation. And the reason the promise of Alastu was given to a human being is because it is difficult to follow your calling and be lonely in your journey. It is difficult to do what you feel is right when nobody approves of it. It is horrible to feel like everyone's going to abandon you. But remember, when Allah doesn't abandon us, he sends a tribe for us. In Ghazwa Badr, when we read the Quran and Allah talks about the Battle of Badr, it's so remarkable how Allah says that we sent angels to help you, right? And believe me, when General Nigar met me, I was not doing too well. And I had actually made a prayer to Allah, "Allah, now you need to send me an angel to help me." And this lady walks up to me and she just picks up my spirits and uplifts me. And I know for sure, I told Allah, "Can you please send some angels now to help me because I'm feeling really low." And this woman comes up who's like the most popular woman in Pakistan. And I was in awe of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That, I mean, this is a different discussion, but my teacher who teaches me philosophy and mysticism said that angels are not particular beings, but being an angel is a quality. And that can be manifested through a lot of different beings. So Iblis was a jinn, but he's considered an angel because he worshipped so many years. Um, he said he was made out of fire, but he was part of the congregation of the angels who had to bow down to Hazrat Adam. And in different religions, in Judaism and Christianity and Islam, there's a seminar that happened at Al Mahdi Institute where they all talked about angels according to their scriptures, and these talks are available on Al Mahdi podcast on Spotify. It's called angels in, like, Torah, angels in Christianity, angels in Judaism, angels in Islam. So you can hear those talks. And they talk about what angels are and how scriptures talk about angels. Anyway, coming back to what we were discussing, that there's a whole world that is waiting to support you, that is waiting for waiting to uplift you, that is waiting to help you get to your destination of your human calling and perfection, if only you put your faith in God and you ask for support and you ask for help. And then when the help comes, you receive that help. Please take the help that you can take. Please take the support that comes to you. Why am I saying it? I can beg women to please take the support because I see women every day who reject the support which comes their way to take them out of such difficult situations, simply because what will people say? Simply because what will people think? Simply because I don't have it in me to face the society. I don't have it in me to face what the people are going to say to me, call me, whatever. I promise you, just if you put your faith in Allah and take the support that comes your way, Allah will help you through those situations. There are women who say, we could never do this, and then we took the step. And then I don't know from where I got the energy to speak these words. I don't know from where I got the energy to face my giants. Uh, you know, so when we put faith over fear, we are able to find the courage in us to do the right thing. And I'm not saying that always the divorce is the answer or walking out is the answer. I'm just saying if you recognize that for years and years and years you have seen no growth, no change, you're stuck in the same place, you're feeling claustrophobic, you're feeling suffocated, you don't feel heard, and you're going into depression, your mental health is depleting, and it is leading to more and more hatred, more and more resentment, and you feel trapped, don't enter the victim mentality where you say, what can I do now? I have no option. We always have an option. And that's why I always remind people of the scenario of the Holy Prophet. Sorry, not the Holy Prophet, Prophet Moses, when he was in front of the ocean and he said, and he was told, Moses, what are we going to do? The army's behind us and the ocean's in front of us. We're going to drown. And he said, Kalla, Kala, Kalla inna maya rabbi sayahdeen. No way. No way. Like, look at his confidence, his faith. No way. Kalla. No way. My God is with me and he will guide me. That is taqwa. That is saying, my God is with me and he's got my back. And the most amazing, one of the most amazing verses of the Quran, which I think a lot of us use all the time, it's in Surah Talaq. That verse, the second and the third verse, which says, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَل لَّهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبُ وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهُ وَعَلَى, sorry, I'm mixing the rest of it. It comes to me when I do it really fast and I don't want to disrespect the verse right now. So what does the meaning say? That when you put your faith in Allah, then He will open a way for you from where you expect not. And He will give you which you cannot expect. You'll get what you didn't even think, and where you will think it will come from, you cannot expect. So your energies, your powers, your support, your tribe, your people, your monetary problems, all of it will come. I have a friend recently who's moving out, and she's just been messaging me saying, I don't know how Allah has helped me. I don't know where the help came from. I don't know how it has happened. I've waited for this day for years. We cannot doubt women when they genuinely come and say, I'm in pain, help me. We should not doubt their judgment, because we think that, oh my God, if I help her, then there will be guna on me if I support her with her divorce. No, we are going to support someone's free choice. A choice. I'm going to conclude my talk here. And I know that I was supposed to discuss the last 2 points of the needs of the victim, but inshallah we do it later. But I want to conclude this by reiterating the fact that the reason Prophet Muhammad was named the most influential man in the history of the 19th, 20th century in some of the books was because he brought the right of divorce to women through a monotheistic religion that had never been done before. Why would the Prophet encourage this if he thought it was so bad? Why would the Prophet sanction divorces for people so easily? If you read the text, you will see that there are some cases where there was one person who came to the Prophet and said, my parents want me to marry my cousin, and I'm not attracted to him. And what would you say to a woman who's not attracted to her husband? Should she marry? And he said, no, you don't have to marry him. And if you have married, you can break it off if you're not attracted to him. And I know that maybe it doesn't sound very respectful, but I also want to put it out there because I think it's a growing problem when it comes to selecting a spouse. Um, I would like to really emphasize this idea that because of the ideas of religiosity and piety and all of that, we say that, okay, if these two people are good people and they're God-fearing people and, they seem to be nice, then let's get them married and Allah will put the love. Because there are some verses in the Quran that Allah puts the love. But has anyone wondered, every nice person cannot be your husband and every nice woman cannot be your wife. That's why some people are like brothers to us, some people are like sisters to us, and some people specifically come into that category of a spouse. Every nice person cannot be your spouse. You have to be attracted to your spouse. That's when that person becomes particularly your spouse. That's why Allah Ta'ala has put that attraction in opposite genders, to have that attraction and be married to the people you're attracted to. We cannot delete or consider this point in looking for a spouse insufficient, trivial, unimportant. Because when I coach people, when I counsel couples, especially in religious circles, this is a massive problem. That, oh, they're not attracted, but they're good people. They come from good homes. Let's get them married. And children who are getting married early are confused. They feel like, I guess it's sunnate moqada and this person doesn't have anything bad. I guess I should just get married. And then there's a fear like, oh, you might not get proposals, and this is a good family, and it's a good boy, and good girl, and you should get married. There shouldn't be any should here. Nobody should get married. We should want to get married. We should have an excitement and joy about getting married to our spouses. We should be excited and looking forward to the life we want to spend with our spouses, because it is not a compromise. It is not a sacrifice. It is what completes us. It is what makes us happy. It is what brings joy to us. And if we are not attracted to our spouse and we ignore this fact, believe me, it leads to a lot of other evils in the society. And maybe we'll discuss that on some other day in some other course or class. But all of these discussions are openly done in the Quran too. I mean, menstruation is discussed, all these things are discussed. So I don't find any shame in discussing these on a platform where Quran is being discussed, because these are real issues. These are issues that are affecting our community. These are issues that are affecting our children. And these are issues that, in the name of religion, a lot of homes are getting destroyed. So we need to be really, really careful and consider these ideas, because we want to live an empowered life with faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we want our practices which we do in the name of God to empower us and not disempower us, not put us into depression. Allah is good, God is good, and when we feel good, we feel God. And joy is the highest frequency of enlightenment. If we don't have joy, then something is really missing. Okay? So we put our hands up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we make this dua, oh Allah, we come to you begging for your guidance, begging for your mercy. Hold our hands and guide us in the right direction. Help us make the right decisions. Endow our hearts with your true wisdom, your light. O Allah, bring mercy, empathy, and wisdom into our hearts. O Allah, bring love into our hearts. Bring that wisdom into us, which brings out the best of our characteristics, but also guides us to do the right thing with courage, with wisdom. O Allah, you are our Hadi. You are our Wali. O Allah, there is no one we can ask for help. So we ask you with the wasila of our beautiful Prophet and our Aimma Tahirin, who you have promised to purify, O Allah, with their wasila, purify our hearts. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. I just want to make an announcement that inshallah I'll be going for Umrah. So Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, I won't be here for the coming 2 weeks. I won't be able to conduct the classes. So the next 2 weeks we will be missing our sessions. And I'll be really grateful um if someone can give me a reminder, because the next time I'll be able to take a class will be either on the 6th or the 13th, most probably 13th. So if someone can send me a reminder, Friday the 13th in January, and I will, inshallah, uh, you know, buckle up and come for my class. I just hope I don't miss it. So thank you everyone. Keep me in your prayers. All of you are in my prayers. I will keep you all in my prayers when I visit the Holy Lands. And I need your prayers when you visit your holy lands in your hearts, because that is where Allah lives. Thank you so much, everyone, for your love and patience. Always remembering me in your prayers, and happy holidays. Happy New Year. I will see you in the next year now. Take care and Allah Hafiz.